What's up? This is Roderick Strong's father. Hello. The Earlies. That could be the name of the new group. The Earlies. I'm going to try something since I have a spot tonight at the Comedy Store. We're going to do like a half hour, 40-minute Earlverse. See how it works out. Typically, the shorter Earlverses don't do great, but hey, you know what? We'll give it a shot. See what's going on out there in the world. John Smith in the house. Hit the like button if you have not done so already. Night Moose, did Earl ever finish Predator? I believe I did. Queen on. We got the freaks coming in. It'll be a short Earlverse tonight. But I'm trying to be consistent. Thursday and Sunday nights will be the flagship streams. And then, we'll just do the other ones when necessary. Shorter than a Babylon AD opening set. Oh boy, that's a tough one there. Grant Thor coming in hot with the 80s metal references. Biggie 21, not to be confused with Big Black, who he hasn't been around the last couple streams. It's like Sunday Night Heat and Raw. I mean, I'm still trying to, I think I've been monetized since January or February, and I'm still messing with the algorithm. In terms of length of videos, when to do them, what time to do them. Sunday nights have always been pretty good to me. Thursday nights, pretty good. Friday nights, sometimes good. Saturdays, there's just too many people streaming. Sorry, I was late. All right, AC/DC. It's all good. I mean, I'm an AEW guy, Biggie, but, I know enough about WWE to guess whatever your question would be. I'm probably most hip on 80s WWF trivia before the World Wildlife Foundation sued the WWE and won, thus making it change their name to World Wrestling Entertainment. A lot of people ask me what AEW stands for. It stands for All Elite Wrestling. So I'm very knowledgeable about AEW, but they've only been around 5 years. So, there's not like a ton of like hard questions to ask. More of a general question. You're going up against the powerhouse, Rob Saul, right now. There's always going to be someone on, unfortunately. You got Shuley and Melton starting at 6 a.m. my time. Then you got Chad kind of right after that. Then MLC, and then Ray, and I think Bob Levy does some shows around a little earlier than right now. But and you got Steel Toe. So if I waited till no one was streaming, I literally wouldn't be on the air. Although I'm up at such weird hours. Like, I would love to get a stream going at like 2 or 3 in the AM. And I think I did some like right before I got monetized, and it did not do very well. There was about 5 people in the stream, which is what we have now. So who knows? Let me see. Who was the Bartlett guy? I don't know what Bartlett means. who on the first Monday Night Raw, Rob, who was I don't know, to be honest with you. Uh, is it true that the British Bulldog were thugs and terrorized other people in the WWF? I've never heard of that. I know British Bulldog, part of his demise was in WCW. Someone body slammed him on the trap door that the Ultimate Warrior would come out from the bottom of the ring, and that's I mean, he was probably already addicted to pain pills. Um, are you talking about Lord Alfred Hayes? Um, and then he really got addicted to pain pills because his lower back was pretty fucked up. Really similar to Rick Rude, who broke his back in who legit broke his back in a wrestling match in Japan against Sting. And a lot of people don't realize this. Not only did he break his back against Sting, but Sting picked him up and body slammed him again. How he didn't paralyze the guy is unbelievable. Because the problem was in Japan, the ring was on a platform, and I don't think Sting or Rick Rude. I mean, I'm sure when they went over the match, they probably said, "Hey, watch out for this," but, they're so used to being, uh, in the American rings that aren't on a stage, and then that's how, unfortunately, Rick Rude, um, went downhill. He was never really quite the same after he broke his back, and he wanted to wrestle again, but he couldn't because he had, I think, a Lloyd's of London insurance policy, and if he wrestled, policy was canceled, so he was just mentally pretty fucked up toward the end of his life. What up, T Gun? The chubby female Secret Service girl. Oh, really? Is that true? ACDC? That's funny. Yeah, Surfer Sting. I like to. My favorite Sting is when he got kicked out of the Four Horsemen, and he started battling Flair and the Anderson brothers. Of course, my favorite heel turn of all time is when Nikita Koloff joined forces with Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream and the Russian Nightmare, which at the time was real kayfabe. Like you didn't have the internet telling you all this shit. And how that came about was Magnum TA's accident. When Magnum TA got in that horrible car crash, Dusty Rhodes needed a new tag team partner. And I believe it was Dusty Rhodes' idea to turn Nikita Koloff face, one of the great heel to face turns ever, maybe the best one. Um, yeah, that's a great one as well, Queen on. And I think that my favorite version of the Four Horsemen is probably the least popular version, not the one with Paul Roma, but the one with Sid when they took on RoboCop. So in the Four Horsemen, you had Flair, Arn Anderson, Sid, Barry Windham, Ole Anderson was kind of a spokesperson, and then Benoit's wife. So I am a Sid Mark, no doubt about it. I am a Sid Mark. I love Sid Vicious. And I don't mean the guy from the Sex Pistols. Life, very life. Let me get that. There we go. This is the SummerSlam referee Sid. And this is Sid Justice when he turned on Shawn Michaels. You don't give me the night off, boy. And then he botched two power bombs. But I think Shawn Michaels was trying to pull a fast one on Sid and not take the power bombs. So if you ever watch that when Sid turns on Shawn Michaels, he tries to give him a power bomb, and Shawn Michaels withers out of it. So Sid just picked him up again and gave him a pretty bad power bomb. Yeah, I mean, Sid was. I love Sid. How he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's almost as big of a fence as Kamala not being in the Hall of Fame. But, I mean, at some point, they're gonna start running out of guys. Um, I mean, I don't know if I believe that, Biggie. I mean, you never know. I mean, Vince made it seem like he thought Sid was, and, Sid was, the type of guy that Vince liked, big, giant dude, a real animal. I mean, he hurt guys. I mean, he knocked out Brian Pillman unconscious and then picked him up again and slammed him. He didn't give a fuck. Uh, yeah, I think Sid was really more into fucking softball. He was like the Warrior. He's like, I don't really like wrestling. I'm just in it for the money. So if you're not going to pay me what I want, I'm going to go play softball. Um, I do remember that, Fred. You think Shane McMahon at AEW is just a setup? No, I think I don't think it's a work. I think that Shane and his sister probably don't get along that great. Shane probably doesn't really like Triple H that much. So he's like, fuck you guys. Um, it really is Kamala. I mean, people forget before they um, made Kamala some like cartoonish goof learning how to play bowling with fucking Slick, that he was an animal, man. Like, they would show kids in the crowd, and they were crying because they thought Kamala was just gonna fly off into the crowd and start eating people. But this is before the internet, so you didn't know that first promo with Kamala wasn't in the deepest, darkest jungles of Africa. It was at Jerry Jarrett's ranch in Texas. And he had some great feuds with Hogan. I believe he was one of, if not the first, to really body slam Andre the Giant. He had some good feuds with Andre the Giant. He had a great feud with The Undertaker. Yeah, if you look up, I think it was a War Games, Biggie, where the cage wasn't that tall. I would guess the cage was maybe 8 feet tall, and because Sid's head was almost hitting it, so he went to power slam Pillman. Pillman hits his head against the top of the cage, and you could tell he went out. So Sid just picked him up again and did it. Like, Sid wasn't a fucking stiff motherfucker, man. But Vader was the same thing too. So I mean, I don't. I'm assuming Sid and Vader wrestled. That must have just like been watching a real fight. Um, well, for some reason they decided to turn Kamala like cartoon gimmick. He was a great heel, man. Um, although I did laugh when Kamala was, I think when he was being managed by Kimchi, the first Kimchi, and this is kind of the start of when they turned him into a buffoon, when he was so fucking portrayed as being so stupid that he didn't know how to pin a guy. He would turn him over on his stomach, and the referee wouldn't count. And then Kimchi would be like, "No, turn him over." And then Kamala got all confused, and then the crowd was yelling at him, "Turn him over." And Kamala got scared and ran out of the ring. Um, so, uh, I'm a little bummed out that Kamala didn't have a better run. I mean, he was great and world class. He had some great feuds with the Von Erich family. I was surprised they didn't, like have Kamala in the Iron Claw movie, just like a little bit, a little scene. Um, but yeah, I think it's a War Games. If you look up Sid, well, I guess if you would just look up Sid Pillman, that would show up. Um, yeah, I mean, there's great. Kamala was a great heel in Memphis with Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler is the one who came up with the gimmick. Before Kamala was Kamala, he was just Sugar Bear Harris, just some big black dude who, was pretty mobile for his size. And then the Kamala gimmick really took off. And, I think probably the height of Kamala's WWE career was the WrestleMania Undertaker match. And then he just never found his footing. And then, he went to WCW where he was with Devastation Incorporated, Kevin Sullivan's, I think was Sheik Adnan. And then, he just got sick of getting ripped off. So he said, fuck it, and started driving a truck. Well, the funny thing is, if you believe Jerry Lawler, that Kamala thought the moon was a banana. So maybe he was stupid. I don't know. Although I do have a signed autographed picture of Kamala saying I'm his favorite comic. It's probably his manager who wrote it, but it still looks like Kamala did it. Um, yeah, I mean, I think someone told me that Hogan was the first to body slam Andre the Giant, but I thought it was Kamala. Um, it's very grainy footage, and I think you see Sheik Adnan El Casey in the background. Um, no, I think Jerry Jarrett came up with the Jerry Lawler came up with the character, and I think probably helped Kamala with the makeup. But Jerry Jarrett, if you ever see the first vignette of Kamala, and he's like, such a racist vignette. He's like walking out of the jungle with a spear, and it looks like it is Africa, but it was actually Jerry Jarrett's ranch in Texas. Like, the fuck is going on back then? Um, that's funny, William. Yeah, I mean, well, that wasn't actually WWF. That was Mid South. Um, yeah, I mean, I think Jarrett was the one who was like telling Sting, "Hey, you and the Ultimate Warrior aren't really working out." And the Warrior was probably going to leave anyway. He went to World Class Championship Wrestling and has the Dingo Warrior. So the biggest wrestler in size I've personally met, Kevin Nash. I met Nash at the Firehouse restaurant in Venice, which is where all the bodybuilders and athletes and pro wrestlers go after they work out at Gold's Gym. And if you're ever in Venice, you really should go. It's an iconic, it's in I think it was an old firehouse, and they cater specifically to bodybuilders and fitness people. Like all the meals are somehow 6 egg whites and the side of uh, fiber pancakes or whatever. Earl still goes to Sambo's every Tuesday. I mean, the last time I went to Sambo's was with Chandler in Santa Barbara. She did not realize the historical significance of the restaurant. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, I've been in a room with Satnam Singh, but I've never met him. If Earl was a wrestler, he would be called the Ultimate Hog. No, I'd be called Dick Hammer, which I guess is the same thing. I tell you, the omelets at Sambo's in Santa Barbara are really good. I mean, I know it's a racist name, but they got rid of the logo. Although at the one in Santa Barbara, you can still see the logo when you walk in. They didn't scratch it out quite completely, which is pretty funny. By the way, this will be, since I have a spot at the Comedy Store, it's gonna be a short stream, maybe about another 20 minutes. I just wanted to say hello to the Warriors, the Earliers, the Earlies. They probably do have Sambo's in Alabama, but I think it was a West Coast thing. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm not a small man. I mean, I'm about 6'1", 6'2". Now, that photo was one of the hockey jerseys I wish I never sold, but I got paid like $2,000 for that jersey. That was a New York Rangers white Liberty jersey of the great Jeff Bookaboom, who I named one of my dogs after, Lois's best friend. And with Lemmy, that was also with Lemmy. Did they? I don't know. I don't listen to Jerry Lawler's podcast, so I'm not sure on that one. Edmonton is Benoit. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. That was taken after. No, that was taken before I got kicked out of the limo. That was Lemmy was there, and I was there because I was dating the singer from Motorhead. So we got to go to a Monday Night Raw at the Staples Center. I won't call it crypto.com. And then Triple H and Lemmy talked, and then Somehow I ended up in a limo. I don't remember how. I think Triple H invited me in, and it was me, Triple H, and Stephanie. And Triple H asked me who my favorite wrestler was, and I said, "Oh, the Ultimate Warrior." And he kind of looked at me, and he's like, "Okay, we got to go, man." And I'd forgotten Triple H's first big WrestleMania match, the Warrior. He jobbed a Warrior in like 30 seconds. um, Hockey's coming up. I was just at the Kings practice facility the other day, and I was gifted because the Kings come to the Comedy Store. The staff was like, "What do you want?" And I'll name, and I'm like, "You got anything of Pierre-Luc Dubois?" So I got this game worn Pierre-Luc Dubois, my favorite player last year. Of course, they traded him. A Chrome Dome helmet. These aren't really available to the fans. Uh, and then, so you can't really, let me see. Well, it's very shiny. And so thank you to the LA Kings training staff for gifting me a Chrome Dome PLD Pierre-Luc Dubois helmet. Of course, Pierre-Luc Dubois um, is on the Washington Capitals now. He was 1 year in to an 8-year contract. So as I was giving a tour of the facility last week, I go upstairs in the training room and I see GM Rob Blake just working out. I give him a fist bump. Said, "Thanks for putting together a good squad." And of course, I wanted to ask him some questions, but I didn't. I played it cool. You got to play it cool when you're around a celebrity. What is one joke topic that usually gets you heat fast? Yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, I would get this. He probably wouldn't sign it. Actually, he probably would. He strikes me as the type that don't give a fuck. You know, he's making $8.5 million this year. He'll sign a King's helmet. By the way, the Washington Capitals general manager is ex-King Brian McClellan, who most King fans, their favorite memory of Brian McClellan is when he was a pacifist. He didn't really like fighting. But he was about 6'5", 220, which was gigantic for the NHL back then. I mean, back then, that was big. Now it's like there's a guy, probably two guys in every team that size. And there's a scruffle in the Kings Buffalo Sabres game. And Larry Playfair, who was really the Probert of the NHL before Probert, he kind of got in McClellan's face, and McClellan, for whatever reason, just dropped him like 2-3 times in the fight. And that was the beginning of the end for Brian McClellan, because then King fans and probably King coaches and general manager at the time, it was like, dude, you should fight more. And he just didn't like fighting. I mean, he had a great fight when he was with the New York Rangers, where between the Flyers and the Rangers, a brawl broke out, and I think it was Lindsey Carson started picking on him because Lindsey Carson knew he's not going to fight. And, much like the Playfair fight, McClellan was just like, fuck it. And Carson actually got in the first shot and knocked McClellan down, but then McClellan just like got superpowers, stood up, and just started killing him. No, play-by-play for hockey goes too fast. Yeah, I mean, the Islanders, I don't know, they didn't do a lot in the offseason. I mean, the Kings did. They definitely, the Kings' biggest problem, no one's going to go back on Earlverse episodes, but, I said many a time on the Earlverse that the Kings lost to the Edmonton Oilers, not necessarily because of Connor McDavid, but they got bullied again. Even Dubois was bullied, and he's a big guy, 6'4", 225. He plays a lot like McClellan, just kind of easy breezy, not really, he's not going to be that physically active, which is too bad because the few times he is, he fucking kills people. But they got bullied. In the first year, which was probably the Kings' best effort against Edmonton. The Kings were bullied by Zach Cassian, Evander Kane, Darnell Nurse. And then the last two seasons, in the playoffs. They were bullied by Cassian, Corey Perry, that big number 73 kid, Desjarnais, De Sermeris or something. He's on Vancouver now. And so they addressed that in the offseason. They got Tanner Jeannot, who's a real aggressive player, and Joel Edmondson. He's a very, very, he's going to probably be paired with Brant Clark or Jordan Spence on the third line, and no one's going to fuck with Clark or Spence with Edmondson there. He's not necessarily a fighter, but he's kind of a dirty player. So he was brought in to toe the line, if you want to call it that. And, we also have Andreas Englund, who was really the only king who was physical last year, because my friend Carl Grunstrom is now in San Jose. Um, Speaking of the San Jose Sharks, I mean, he's doing pretty good. I mean, they got the number one pick. Um, they've got a lot of draft picks. Um, I think Carl will shine in San Jose. He'll be given Carl will probably be on the second line in San Jose. Yeah, the Golden Knights, they don't fuck around. They go all in every year. They don't worry about draft picks. They're very much like how Jack Kent Cooke used to when he owned the Washington Redskins and the Kings. He owned the Kings as well. They just trade draft picks for veteran players, and they don't really concern themselves with, in 2 or 3 years, we're not going to have any draft picks, and we're going to have a bunch of old players who make a lot of money. Most teams would be like, hey, we gotta kind of meet in the middle, and not the Knights. They go all in every year. They trade for Jack Eichel. That contract's not going to age well. Mark Stone, that contract's not going to age well. But they don't care. They care about winning this year, and they'll deal with the consequences later. Now, it'll be interesting to see how the Golden Knights do when they start losing. At some point, they are going to start losing. And then the fans will be like, it's Vegas. We can go see the Blue Man Group instead of a Knights game, or the Killers residency. So Salt Lake, Arizona, which is Salt Lake now, they have a good team. A lot of young draft picks. They've got Sergachev from Tampa, my buddy Sean Dursey on defense. So, a lot of good young talent, and they've got a lot of caps, so they can make a play. I'm surprised they didn't make a play for Stamkos, because they've got the money to afford them. And Tampa needs younger players now because they have a bunch of bad contracts. But he's now in Nashville. Kings are like the Lakers since their last cup win. I think the Kings' problem under Dean Lombardi, the GM who built the cup teams, is that they, they were loyal to some of the guys. And it's not that they shouldn't have been loyal. Like they gave Gabrick a 5-year deal and Carter a big deal. And, they could have let go of Mike Richards and have it not count against the cap, but they stuck with him because he was the captain. Or no, he was the assistant captain. Dustin Brown was the captain. But, I think they're still paying Mike Richards off. So, the Kings ended up, after their 2 cup wins, is really a case study and what can go wrong when you win for like 5-6 years in a row. Everyone wants to get paid, and you pay them, and then you start to go downhill, and then you don't have the room to maneuver with the cap because everyone's getting paid what they want, or almost everyone. So, the Kings, but they're in a tough division. Edmonton's good, or tough conference. Edmonton's good. The Knights are good. Arizona's going to be good. Vancouver's good. Edmonton's obviously but arguably the 2 best players in the world. Calgary's going to come back at some point. The Sharks aren't going to be as bad as people think they are. And so, the Kings, obviously in the trade for PLD, they got Kemper back, but, he's the 35-year-old goalie. Their main backup from last year, Copley, is coming off an ACL injury. They've got big save Dave Rittich, which everyone loves him, and he's a great story, so people are rooting for him. But, I mean, goaltending once again will be a highlight of people's bones of contention, if you will. And I mean, I don't think goaltending was the problem last year for the Kings. I mean, it wasn't the sexiest pairing of Talbot and Rittich, but and Copley for the few games he played, but and Copley looked a little shaky the couple games he played. So Talbot, he'd have a good game, a bad game. Rittich was pretty consistent. So it's going to be interesting. Earl, if the presidential election were to be resolved by a Royal Rumble, whom would take the belt? Probably Trump. He just pay everyone to take a dive. Uh, yeah, the Stanley Cup was, it's the hockey playoffs are the best of the four major sports. Um, I think the playoffs in hockey are the best because it's fucking played with so much passion and it's blood sport, man. Hockey is just the sport played with the most passion. So, it's really awesome. Even in the first round, it's rough and tumble. With each round, the play gets more physical, but they don't fight because no one wants to take the penalty. So it's like a controlled aggression. Um, Politics is like the WWE. I mean, listen, uh, you know, this the debates are going to be absolutely amazing. Um, I mean, that first, if I'm the Democrats, I have Kamala or Kamala. Um, I'm so used to saying Kamala. Um, if I have any say in the Democratic side, I'm like, hey, to Kamala, needle him. He's misogynistic. I think we all can agree. Even if you vote Trump, he's misogynistic, and I think Kamala can. I think Kamala can bait him in the debate and get him unhinged. So William Zoom, something by a rat. Did I miss a William Zoom question? Oh, you and Night Moose are breaking off into individual chats, which is fine. Yes, Vince Foster. Rogan really likes my cousin. Well, maybe my cousin can ask Rogan to get me on the fucking podcast. Hello. She avoids interviews. Well, I mean, you listen, I'll give Trump this. He goes like he went to that black conference knowing he wasn't going to get shredded by those hosts. William Zoom does hold it down. I think we'll see the debate on. They were supposed to have it on my birthday, September 17th. Let's make that an all-time stream, numbers wise. Let's let's try for my birthday stream to get 100 people in here. I don't care if you guys super chat or not. We get Peter. I'll make Peter Chicken Man Brennan special guest moderator for September 17th. Mark your calendars. I don't know what my super chat record is. I think it was that one. I think it was $219. That one random, what was it, about a month ago, where we had some new people in the stream. And then the other night we had some two super chatters battling each other for who gave the most money. It was very Dabbleverse like in my stream that night. No, my birthday is September 17th, 1968. I share the same birthday with John Ritter, and I believe someone else relatively famous. Yeah, we're gonna, September 17th, we're gonna really go all in. Just set a likes record. I think the all-time likes was 140. Uh, Look into it if you want to grow your audience. Trust. John Smith, I'm giving you permission to create it if you'd like. I don't know how to do that stuff. I'm not being lazy. I just don't know how to do that. Yeah, you have full permission. So you don't need a super chat. Maybe like William Zoom always comments on the my videos, and it keeps me in the algorithm. I will. Well, that's an early show. I think AEW. That's a long stream, to be honest with you. That's like 5 hours. Yeah, I've never been in a Discord. But unfortunately, William, if it builds my uh if it builds the brand, I don't I don't I will never go into a Discord. I'm told it's somewhat like Reddit. Um, Thank you, Sour Milk. Boing, does he have big tits? Boing, 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 boing. I mean, listen, I'm trying everything. On YouTube, I'm doing shorts, I'm doing short videos, like, those 2-minute deals. I'm doing long form videos, even that video that I put up, that old pandemic inappropriate Earl with me and Chandler. I realized it wasn't the greatest quality, but it was like an hour video that, I hopefully people liked. I mean, I think less than 100 people watched it, but, I'm trying everything. I mean, that's how Matt Rife really popped. Matt put out like hundreds of fucking videos that got no traction, and he put out a crowd work video that I guess did reasonably well. And bingo, the guy's headlining the Netflix festival. Now, do I think I'm going to be headlining the Netflix festival if the Earlverse gets going? Um, or maybe I'll do a stream where I'm playing video games. My friends make a lot of money on Twitch doing that shit. But I can't imagine that would be fun watching me play. My favorite video game at the moment is it used to be Madden. Now it's NCAA College Football 25. Because you can, I play in Dynasty mode. I'm the USC Trojans. Um, And it's cool how you can, you have to recruit prospects for the next year, and it all depends on how good your team's doing this year. I mean, it's mindless entertainment. But I'm assuming I would have to have a camera on the TV and me, and I don't know how to do that shit. So, maybe one day. I mean, listen, I'm just trying to. For a comic of my ability, I should be more known. Not famous, but more known. And the internet's the way to do that, to be honest with you. So, um, and if I can make a few bucks, doing it. I mean, my one friend, she makes like 50 grand a month on Twitch, but she has giant tits. So, and she plays video games and does cooking videos with her jugs sticking out. So I don't have that. So um, don't ask me how I know she has giant tits. Hello. I'm not against the Discord. I mean, shorts actually, because YouTube is really trying to um, keep up with TikTok and Instagram reels. Um, I think from what I've been told from my friends who know that they really push the shorts. Now, I haven't had like a short that's gone viral or whatever, but I've had a few get 1,000 views versus like an Earlverse stream. I consider myself lucky if I hit 200 views on this stream. We're gonna end in 7 minutes. We'll do a 45-minute stream because I got to get ready for the store. But this stream tonight will probably get 150 to 200 views, which is great. I realize it's a 45-minute video. It's not a 30-second short, which are easier to watch and um, digest. Yeah, that. And I realize big boobs, big boobs. Will you ever get the neon verse sign? Earlverse, maybe yellow. I mean, when I have a better background, because this is, as you guys know, my kitchen behind me. I could put an Earlverse. That's a good idea, actually. Earlverse, like right here, but I don't want wires hanging down. And uh, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I have a few people to thank. The Quad Father from the Dabbleverse was instrumental in getting me monetized. And Tracy Carnazzo um, was she's really the main driver who got me monetized. And Kevin Brennan and Chad gave me tips. I just couldn't figure out the forms to fill out and whatnot. And so I owe, and you guys are the ones who tip me and watch the videos, and um, I think oh, I did not know I had the same birthday of Jeff Danish's dad. Um, so I have a lot of people to thank. Um, well, I don't. Big boobs. It's like even my friends who have big boobs are like, dude, they're just fat. Why do you like them so much? I mean, that's literally if they're natural, uh, they're just fat. But it's a visual to me. But I've also dated girls with no boobs, and probably one of the prettiest girls I dated was like beyond an A cup. But we had a great vibe, and we got along really well, and she looked like Julia Roberts. I don't keep up with Kim's whereabouts, but the last I heard, she moved to Austin. Um, yeah, that's probably true, William. You're always the man of reason in here. We're going to go for about another 5 minutes. Let me see what time it is on my. It's 8:06, so definitely gonna only go for 5 more minutes because I got to get ready, baby. Yes, I'm very happy with the progress on my special. Really, all that needs to be done is shoot the fucking thing. But unfortunately, we just can't find a place that is special. I could rent out a theater right now and do it, but I don't want. It's just gonna look like, oh, okay, here's another special in a theater, small theater on Santa Monica Boulevard. There's loads of them. I want it to be, and I want people like, listen. Obviously, there's a lot of comment or content on and comment. There's a lot of content on YouTube. You just go one video, okay, that looks the same. It's like the joke I do about specials looking the same. Rogan's is in an arena, Burr's is in an arena, Chappelle's is in an arena. You could literally put Chappelle and Burr special and flip them, and it doesn't look much different. So, I want to find a venue or some kind of wacky background where people are like, "What the fuck is this?" And then you stay for the jokes. I mean, obviously, the jokes are the most important thing, but or maybe they aren't. Maybe just getting people to stop and click on your video. Um, so, well, I mean, it's like number 2 on Netflix, so I wouldn't if that's bombing, I would like to bomb on Netflix. Uh, I know Julia Roberts was in an episode of Miami Vice. She was also in Crime Story. She was very pretty in Crime Story. Yeah, a wrestling ring. I mean, my friend Dirty Ron McDonald um, is he. I did a comedy show in his wrestling ring in Oceanside, San Diego. And by the way, I guess I could tell this for those of you who are in California. You could go to this. I will be doing stand-up comedy before the next XPW, which is King of Deathmatch Wrestling. I'm going to be doing about a 15-minute set in a theater, and then I will be the like master of ceremonies. I mean something that's silly, but you know uh, that could be a good idea. So, well, I mean, Rogan and Chappelle, you're not going to cancel them. I think we talked about this the other night on the stream. You only make them stronger. If you try and get rid of Rogan for doing an Asian accent, it's just going to make his fan base even more riled up. It's just the reality of life. If you try and get Chappelle canceled for this trans jokes he does, or his take on trans, you're just going to make him stronger. Like it's just not. You're just wasting your time. Now, if you try to get me canceled, it'd probably be pretty easy. But in some ways, maybe even harder to cancel me than Rogan or Chappelle. Because what are you going to take from me? Are you going to cancel my Earlverse streams with 20 people in them? Please don't do that. Yeah, I'm excited for the special. Um, it's going to be worth it. I mean, this special so far, without even shooting the fucking thing, has taken 2 years of footage. You guys have seen um, the two trailers I put out. I was just forwarded another, like a third trailer that I can't release yet. But well, the problem with hitting the road, Grant, is just I'm not known enough. So I have no interest in being a road comic when, and this is why I don't do the road. People ask me all the time, why don't you do the road? One, two. I mean, I got about 10 checks here. Top one is from the Comedy Store. So, and I have a very large acting manager. Very few people are as big as this woman in the business trying to help me. And she's even said, you gotta like do the road more. And, acting and comedy is two different animals. And I've tried to tell her, like, I'm not playing a shithole club in Oklahoma just to say I'm doing the road. I got to get into the improv. I mean, the mothership I'm already in at. Obviously I'm in at the Comedy Store. Um, I could probably get a spot or two at the improv if I really bunkered down, but but you are right. I mean, that's the only way I mean, my special is probably most likely going to be on YouTube. I don't see Netflix being interested, but hey, who knows? I know the head of Netflix comedy. Maybe he's like, send it to me. I mean, they need content, but that would be a real home run ball there. Um, yeah, I love that special. What was the first line? Korean delis and ass fucking parties every night of the week. New York, how are ya? Uh, but listen, no stone will be unturned. Well, the funny thing is, William, if I get, I mean, I've even had a idea of an all animated special. It's been done once before, but like, and that was the bummer about the jellies not. The jellies was on air a little bit more. I could have done a special on Adult Swim, which has never been done before, and that appeals to me. Doing something that's never been done before, or very few times. Like even if the Comedy Store said, "Hey, do you want to do your special here?" I don't know if I would do it at the Comedy Store because, um, Tim Dillon just did a special there. Fahim just did a special there. I think Sertiana did a special there. So it's not really special anymore to do a special at the store. Ari Shafir, Gerard Carmichael, Peter Chicken Man Brennan, $2, baby doll. Bigger nepotism, Horace Hogan or my brother Neil. That's a tough. Horace Hogan, no doubt about it. By the way, Peter Brennan, you've been hired. I don't know if you've been listening or not. September 17th is my birthday. We're going for the record in Inappropriate Earl with super chats and likes and numbers and views. And you will be the special guest moderator um, for the Earlverse birthday stream. You don't even have to do anything. You, Kip Smith, and Gina Babina will be running the ship on a record-breaking day, hopefully for the Earlverse Inappropriate Earl world. I am humbled and honored. So we got 2 more minutes, guys, because Earl's got to get ready for his main room spot at the Comedy Store. I got to make the money, honey. Well, I mean, the jellies should have been basically the Black South Park because Tyler has that Matt Parker, Trey Stone type of humor. Um, and to be honest with you, the ratings were good. Are you under the Dante thumb now? Are you a sellout now, Peter Chicken Man Brennan? Come on, man. One day only. Golden Artist Entertainment. Uh, Comedy Store heavyweight champ. Someone make that belt for Earl's birthday. You don't have to send me presents. Someone, I think ACDC, sent me a shirt to the Comedy Store and it got stolen. Like, I'm fucking believable. But if you ever want to send me anything, wrestling dolls or shit like that. Comedy Store. Sunset, West Hollywood, 90069. Yeah, I mean, Dante is the real deal. You know, to show you what an idiot Dante is, Stuttering John fired him. Hello! That's about as heavy in the dabble versus I'll get. So, guys, we're going to end the stream right now. This was a very nice stream. Thank you, Peter Chicken Man Brennan, for my did Mencia or Moore steal the shirt? Hello, Leslie intercepted your gifts. I mean, you know, I saw Leslie the other day working out at a gym where I was next door getting energy drinks. But you know, I tried. You know, if you got a problem with Earl Skakel, that's on you because I'm like the most well fucking liked guy in LA comedy. Not my comedy, but just me. So fuck off, man. Earl Skakel and that. Well, we're probably about the same size. Hello. Thank you, Chicken Man Brennan, for your super chat. Thank you guys. You guys are the earliers. You're the warriors. I appreciate you guys. And I won't, like the Poison song says, I won't forget you, baby. Are you surprised Emily doesn't ask Shop to perform? No, Emily has what you call a soul. Well, I appreciate, you know, comedy is subjective. Yeah, hit the like button on your way out. And Sunday night, I'm not sure if I'm doing the Earlverse Eddie Nash stream. I got to research the addresses and stuff. But we will be doing a stream Sunday night. Earl Skakel reporting live from the basement in West Hollywood. See ya.